Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Double 18 Podcast live stream edition on this Wednesday, June 26th. A lot is going on tonight. We got the NBA draft that just started. I think the commissioner just got done talking. We have the Copa America, the Euros. The round of 16 is all set now, and we're going to get into all of that tonight. I'm your host, Stephen Nagishi, and with me, as always, from the Awful Announcing, the associate editor, Ken Fan. Ken, good evening, and how are you tonight?
Good, Stephen. I just want to let everybody know that Stephen and I did not color coordinate tonight. We did not, in advance, say that to wear the same color T-shirt. So I just want to let everybody know that.
Yeah. I was wearing a flannel on top earlier at my workplace because it's a little bit chilly in my workplace. So you have to have something on top of it, even in this in day and age. Right now when it's so hot at the summertime. But yeah, and thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, I also want to say I had a T-shirt with a logo on it. I wanted to take it off, so I grabbed this instead. So, but that's why I have this T-shirt. But again, just want to let you all know, Stephen and I did not color coordinate, even though we're both wearing teal. As you can see over there, we're both wearing the same color, but we did not color. I mean, we're both Asian. We both wear glasses. That's where the similarities usually end. He's Japanese, I'm Taiwanese, but we do not color coordinate our shirts. Okay, I just want to let everybody know that.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ken, let's get to the top story of the day, or at least of this month. Pretty much, it's soccer dominating the headlines on this pretty much dull sports month now that the both NBA and the NHL is officially over. And we'll get to the NHL Stanley Cup final a little bit later. But the Euro 2024, the round of 16, is officially set now. And I got to tell you, it's been very, very exciting watching this tournament. But unfortunately, the round of 24 instead of the round of 16 that they were adopting previously until the last tournament, now that they've putting it to 24, you have several third place teams that are coming out, which obviously, based on the results that we've been seeing, not many people are thrilled with the idea of a third place team, making it out, which is understandable because, the World Cup used to be 24 teams before, and then you had third place teams coming out. Eventually, they moved to the 32, and the World Cup here in America in 2 years, they're going to increase that to 48 teams, and I really have no idea how the hell they're going to maintain that number. But I'm trying to pull out the round of 16 brackets here, but. It was a very, very exciting game. The finishing, third and final game where every team has to play simultaneously, pretty much. It was a very exciting game today. Among the notable game today was the country of Georgia, shocking Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo 2-0. Get to the round of 16. Let me try and pull this out here. Here's the Group A. The host country, Germany, managed to unfortunately settle with the tie with Switzerland in their final game, but they still managed to salvage it. Switzerland, the second, Hungary and Scotland, they're both out. One of the things that stood out in this group is not the game itself, but the fans, Scottish fans, making it to Germany, and then they've been having so much joy and fun, even though their national team crashed out. Unfortunately, they only had 2 goals in this tournament, but. I was very much impressed with the vibes and the. They were very much well received in Germany. How the Scottish fans were, welcomed in Germany compared to their counterparts, England, with their notorious hooliganism. But Germany and Switzerland are in. Let's see. Group B, here's another one. As you can see here on this Google map Google, the blue indicates they are advancing to the next round. Spain and Italy, which is not that surprising, but Croatia and Albania. Albania really gave Italy a scary. They scored within 30 seconds, which was like probably the fastest goal in Euro history. But then Italy managed to come back and beat them. And, Croatia, shockingly, they did not even get a single win. All they got was 2 draws, and they crashed out. They, as a country of 4 million people, that experienced hardships in the early 90s when the old former Yugoslavia was at war, and then eventually, multiple countries broke into pieces. Croatia was among them. And then from 1998 on, and then it's amazing that, again, a country of 4 million people have been able to produce so many world-class players and have been able to have a great success. They finished runner-up in 2018. They finished, I believe, third in 2022. But, as you get older, the players starts to slow down, unfortunately. And, with stars like Luka Modric, among others, it's unfortunately, they might be already coming to an end, unfortunately. So, Spain get out of this group undefeated. Group C, I got to tell you, Ken, England has been a massive, massive disappointment under Gareth Southgate.
He's got to figure out something over there. The Jude Bellingham, they were hoping to score. This is a team that was an odds-on favorite, along with Germany, to win the Euros. But they have not scored. They managed to they finished first out of the group because it's not a really, as you can see, with Denmark, I think it's Slovakia and Serbia. Not a very
Slovenia. Right, they're all tied up.
Not a very strong group there, Stephen. But you have a group there. Right. You're expecting England to score at least 5 goals to get out of it. They did. I think they were very lucky to score even 3 or so. And I think they had a draw too with a 0-0 draw. So they didn't.
Right, that was against Denmark. Yes.
Yeah, they didn't perform very well. The English pundits are all screaming about their performance. Harry Kane is saying that the pundits should be boosting them up instead of criticizing. So there's some right now a little bit of chaos on the English team right now. They've got to figure this out. Otherwise, they could be going home in the round of 16 because you got to score, especially in the Euros. And now you're going to play much stronger teams. I don't know. I forgot who they're playing, Stephen, but they've got to play. But they've got to score at least 2 or 3 goals to get some confidence here. Otherwise, they're going to be out. And this is a team that finished, of course, went to the finals 4 years ago. 3 years ago, actually, at Wembley Stadium. There were the fans were singing, "It's coming home." They're playing Italy. They scored the very first goal. And then, Italy came back and won. And then, of course, England's the bane of England came back to bite them with the penalty kicks. They had 3 penalty kicks missed. Unfortunately, racism ensued there. There also, if you saw the Netflix documentary in regards to what was going with the crowd before the game, there was all types of issues with security. But anyway, England's got to figure this out. Otherwise, they're going to be out in the round of 16, Stephen. And this is going to be unfortunate for a team that was supposed to win this tournament and be an odds-on favorite. But right now, they're not playing like that right now.
Right. And moving on to Group D, this is another shocker here. Austria shockingly made it out of the group as a top team. France struggled. They only had a 1 goal, and that was a penalty kick against Poland, which Kylian Mbappe scored on. And then a lot of the own goals they scored. I think the first game against Austria, France got a 1 on an own goal, and then against the Dutch they had a 0-0 draw there. Netherlands shockingly lost to Austria in a very competitive game there. So now you have top 3 teams are out of this group that are making it based on the goal differentials and everything. So this is really, really confusing why some third place teams are able to go in, go to the next stage, whereas some have to go out. Group E, this is another competitive results here. Romania, who've been out of the the international spotlight for quite some time, unfortunately, got out of the group. Everybody finished with an identical win-loss record, 1-1-1, believe it or not. But they got out on a goal differential. They've scored the most goals out of the group, so they have the +1 there. Belgium, they defeated actually the Romania in their second game after a shocking loss to Slovakia in the opener. And then, Slovakia actually managed to, get them through the Euro, I believe, for the first time into the knockout round. And then you have the country of Ukraine, as we all know, that has been dealing with a horrendous war against Russia. And, they started the game, lost against, I believe, Belgium. But then they shockingly defeated Romania in the second game in a very emotional win. But, there's no question that despite the difficult circumstances, Ukraine and their fans have nothing to be ashamed of, even though the wins and losses can be a little bit deceitful based on where they finished. Group F, again, this was the group that played today. Portugal, despite the loss to a small nation of Georgia, not the state of Georgia that some people like to joke about,
no,
but
this wasn't
Georgia. Exactly, but this is a country that has been outspokenly vocal throughout the tournament against Russia and Vladimir Putin. They beat the Portugal. This is actually their very first time in any sort of an international competition. They've never been to World Cup before, so this is their very first time in the European competition. They're going into the knockout stage. Portugal really kind of struggled. If it wasn't for their dominating win over Turkey, they probably might have not finished at the top. Now, Turkey, with the backdrop of very strong, Turkish, fan base and Turkish immigrants who came to Germany with their strong support, got through, beating Czechia, which is, of course, a Czech Republic that a lot of us Americans are known or used to saying. And so it is Portugal, Turkey, and Georgia.
Yeah. So that was a really great game. I was watching both games today because I had today off. So I was watching the group stage, and Georgia just played fantastic. But the Turkey-Czechia game was very emotional, and Turkey got the very first goal.
Yes.
And then Croatia scored to tie it. And at that point, had it stayed that way, Turkey would have been out, Steven. Czechia would have gone in. But then at the death, in stoppage time, there were 6 minutes left to go in stoppage time. At the death, Turkey gets a goal at the very last second, 2-1. They go up, and that's how they get into. That's how they get to the round of 16. But man, that was a very emotional game. It was a very hot game today. It was, of course, the conditions were very hot. We'll talk about the conditions, especially for Copa America coming up. But let me just tell you that. That game was very emotional. As you mentioned, the Turkish fans were out in force in Germany today watching that game. And also because Czechia is so close by, the fans, it was a great atmosphere. And then it looked like it was going to be 1-1. Czechia fans the Czech fans were just going crazy. They were yelling. It looked like Turkey was going to be out. You saw the emotional crowd shots of the Turkish fans, and then that goal in the 96th minute, Stephen. And then that's when all hell broke loose. And not only that, actually was well. Interestingly enough, red cards were sent out because there was a skirmish on the field, and a couple of
Right, that was after the game, I believe.
Yeah.
That got really, really
Yeah.
ugly there too. I
Yeah.
remember that.
In addition, too, I think on the bench there were a couple of yellow cards thrown out as well. So, it was a very you get two countries like this, especially in Europe. It's very close. Very close on the border. They're going to be they're going to get emotional. Of course, nationalism gets involved as well. But
Right.
Czechia and Turkey, great game. Really emotional. One of the best games I think of the tournament. And when you saw a goal that propelled, which had so much stakes, basically a winner gets all. And goal differential, Czechia was in, Turkey was in, then Czechia was out. It was just really, really great. It was great. It was great drama. And I got to say, it was really fun to watch there, Stephen.
Absolutely. And now we get to the most exciting part. It's the knockout round. It's a winner go home. Losers go home. It's a knockout one game. No more group stages where points and point differential doesn't matter now. As you can see here, we have a little bit of a break between the now and the round of 16 actions now. Let's see. The action resumes Saturday. Yep, here this Saturday. Swiss and Italy, they're neighboring countries. Not a like a real animosity between two sides, but Italy really struggled to get out of the group. They got bailed out on the last minute goal against a game against Croatia.
Yes.
Both teams are very, very strong defensively. I expect a very low scoring game. Maybe I wouldn't be shocked if this goes into a penalty shootout. And then you have the disappointing English Three Lions facing Slovakia this time. They faced Slovenia in the group stage, but now they face Slovakia in the group stage, and they have a lot of stuff to clean up. Ken, I got to tell you. I don't think they're going to underestimate Slovakia, but something's got to give with the English, the way they underachieve with the talent that they have. He is too English. What you and I have been complaining about Greg Berhalter and the USMNT, because I know hordes of English fans don't like Southgate and they just want him gone. We take shots at Greg Berhalter, like the English media and the pundits take shots at the England, because largely, a lot of the players on that team, you mentioned Harry Kane, wanting more support, but to be honest, they haven't done anything to be really get a lot of support from the pundits and the fans back yet. So, if English wants to, do something, this is where they began on Sunday. And then the winner of the Swiss, Italy, and England, Slovakia will face each other in the quarters. Obviously, if English and Italy do advance, as many expect, it would be the rematch of last Euros final that they went into penalty kicks. Certainly, if England can hold off Italy here, they do have a clear shot at the getting to the finals in an easier group compared to the other one. We'll get to in a minute. And then the other group here on Tuesday, July 2nd, you have Romania versus Netherlands. I do believe that despite the where they finished, Netherlands a very much more talented team. They can get out of here. And then this is an interesting one: Austria and Turkey. It's a small nation. Turkey obviously has a strong, soccer followings. Their fan base are just fanatical. They do have a strong Turkish league that has produced very good players over the years. Certainly, whoever comes out here obviously will have a tougher challenge facing Netherlands in the quarterfinals here. And then to the other bracket, this is where things are going to be really, really doozy here. Germany, Denmark, and Spain versus Georgia. I do expect Germany and Spain to come out of this group. This is going to be a very interesting matchup in the quarterfinals. Certainly you want to see those two teams maybe make it to the finals, or maybe at least to the semis before they face each other. So I have a feeling whoever wins this group out of here in the quarters have an inside track to the I would assume finals, and hopefully the country of Germany, which is a host country that has been the last couple of tournaments in the World Cup, they haven't done very, very well either. So the support has been somewhat low, but I think now that they're doing very, very well, I think the backing will be very, very strong throughout Germany. And then you have the two disappointing nations next to bordering each other, France, Belgium.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun
you
one.
have
Yeah, that's going to be a fun
This
one
is gonna-
because, as you mentioned, they share a border. Belgium always feels like France's bastard stepchild because they're always next to them. There's always a lot of Belgium who speak French, and then those who speak the other language. So it's going to be fun to watch. I think France should win that because the Mbappe factor. But as you mentioned, Stevens, France has not played well at all in this tournament. And this is a team that came off that great performance against Argentina in the World Cup a couple of years ago in Qatar. So let's see how they do. Again, a team that really has faced some criticism in his home country for the way it's played. Mbappe has a broken nose. He's wearing a mask right now. So we'll see how he plays in the round of 16.
Yeah, Belgium is also dealing with a turmoil of their own because their star Kevin De Bruyne, basically told his teammates to do not even clap to their supporters, which is somewhat understandable. But Belgium has been one of the top teams in the last few years, but. The fans have been very, very frustrated because their last World Cup in Qatar was a disaster. Their stars are getting up there in age, unfortunately. There's no question, their stars are getting up there and older. De Bruyne is in his 30s. There's a rumor that he might be heading to the MLS eventually. Romelu Lukaku has not looked good at all as a center forward. They haven't scored much. They have kind of, again, in the opener, they lost, I believe, Slovakia. And so, they have been very, very disappointing. And it's understandable that considering the run that they've been on for 10 years, with the golden generation and stuff, they haven't really won anything. They've come close. Probably the best finish was a third place in the 2018 World Cup. But this is probably we're seeing the end, and Belgium and France, especially Belgium, is kind of on the ropes. And then you saw the Portugal and Slovenia, I believe, in the other end. Cristiano Ronaldo was benched today early on, and he really showed the anger and frustration. He hasn't looked good at all in this tournament. He's I believe 39 years old at this point. Playing in substandard Saudi league and making a gazillion dollars in oil money isn't going to carry you so far when Father Time is always undefeated. So, I look at this game as France versus Portugal. If France wants to kind of show that they're better than what they've shown so far, even with the injuries to Mbappe. This is a tournament. This is the moment where they have to really start to shine. And hopefully, Mbappe, even with that mask on, I do hope that he has a chance to lead the French. So I'm very, very excited to, continue watching, with the Euros going into the holiday season and beyond. So, we're going to put a bow into the our Euro conversation, and we're going to kind of get into the next soccer big tournament that is actually taking place in this country, and that is the Copa America. And I got to tell you, Ken, Copa America and both Euro has been carried on by Fox Sports and Fox Sports one, FS1 or FS2, depending on what day and what game is being carried on that day. But the biggest problem that we've been hearing so far with regards to Copa America in the U.S. is that the tickets have been so priced out for many fans, and that and also the parking. If you park, you have to pay like $65 just to park a damn car. I believe this was in Dallas when the U.S. and Bolivia played last Sunday. There was a complaint about that, and in a massive football stadium that we're used to seeing here in America, like 65, 70, 80,000 seat stadiums. A majority of the games, unfortunately, are barely half the seats. Mm-hmm. And it's CONMEBOL, which is the South American Football Federation that organizes Copa America, because obviously Copa America was originally for the competition for the South Americans, what the Euro is for the Europeans. But over the years, they have kind of started bringing in, CONCACAF, which is U.S., Canada, and Mexico, because obviously there's a big opportunity, big money to be made being hosted here in this country because of the strong, Hispanic populations, Brazil, Colombia, Uruguay, even Ecuador, and then also Mexico for, the turnouts and, the ratings and stuff like that. But the problem has been that, CONMEBOL has been poorly marketing this event this time around, which is somewhat very sad and unusual, because we're only 2 years away from the World Cup. And, compared to the atmosphere in Euro, obviously it's kind of like unfair, maybe comparing apples to oranges, but it's unfortunate that, and I hope that this is not what we can see in 2 years from now, when the World Cup starts. But obviously,
I don't think so, Steve.
I don't think so, but I will just say that it's not a good look. And then I just hope that, with the empty seats, it's just an unfortunate, sharp contrast between Euro and Copa America that's being held in this country.
Yeah, I think it's also the fact that UEFA is a much better run organization. As much as UEFA has been corrupt in the past years, UEFA is a much better run organization than CONMEBOL. CONMEBOL has been known for a little bit circus atmosphere, Stephen. So I do think that that you're seeing that in the organization of the run up to Copa America, as you've noticed, and we talked off the air, the atmosphere in some of the stadiums, the lower bowl hasn't even been filled. Also, too, if for SoFi Stadium, one of the media members complained that the hot dog that was sold in the press box,
yes,
and the parking was $83, which is just ridiculous. How are you going to get the regular fan in if you're going to be charging stuff like that? So I'm again, I don't think prices are expensive, but in this day and age of inflation, you want to be able to get fans in. And especially you don't want to let the secondary market control the pricing as well. So I really feel that FIFA is going to look at this and try to bring the prices down for the World Cup in 2026, because the way that CONMEBOL is running this is just, and also too, there's complaints about the conditions of the field at MetLife Stadium, and also too, the day in Kansas City, they played in such a hot conditions that the referee collapsed, and it was very scary yesterday. So of course CONMEBOL can't control that, but you also can't control when you can play. And instead of playing in the hot weather in conditions at 5:00 in the afternoon, perhaps scheduling later at night would be a little bit more conducive. Of course, Fox has something to do with that as well, trying to get the most audience as well. But I playing at 6:00 in the middle of the heat, I think that's got to be something that's got to be looked at, especially for when you're playing in the middle of the summer and you're getting hot conditions. Of course, with climate change, Stephen, it's something that they've got to consider. I know the sites have already been The sites have already been decided, but playing in a situation where you have 90 degrees, humidity at extremely high levels, um, you know, that's got to be, you got to make some consideration and concessions for the players. You can't have them playing. They also tried to do this in Brazil in the humidity by giving them breaks and water breaks, and that's the reporter who complained about the Copa America, the $25 hot dog and the $83 pricing of the parking. Um, if you're going to
Right.
do that for media members, imagine what the fans are paying for as well. So you know, we're not seeing a very conducive conditions for Copa America this year. We're not seeing the great. I mean, only when Mexico and the U.S. are playing are we seeing filled stadiums. So let's hope that when we get to the knockout round, Stephen, that hopefully maybe we'll get some more fans and a little bit better conditions and a little bit better pricing, so we don't price fans out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's ridiculous the amount of lunch that you have to pay for this. Even for media members, I understand that even when you go to regular ball games nowadays, like you and I do, the concessions has been long been a sticking point. Expensive, beverages slash food, stuff like that. Especially in a major event like this, it's just basically money grab at its finest. And the poor surfaces where you're putting a grass on top of the turf, where it's been a massive problems. I believe Argentinian goalkeeper Emil Martinez complained about the condition. When they were facing Canada in the opening game down in Atlanta, which, by the way, was a sellout stadium. Only Argentina game probably looks to be a massive sellout. Maybe Brazil, even with their poor current forms right now, they can still sell out a stadium on any given night, depending on where they're playing. I do believe that the marketing has been poor. I don't think Fox Sports, excuse me, hasn't done a good job marketing this game, despite the fact that they own the broadcast rights to both Euro and Copa America. To be honest with you, I think it's been very, very poorly run, and we'll get to the elephant in the room that is known as the Alexei Lawless in a little bit. But the U.S. Soccer Federation and the U.S. Soccer, whoever's in charge of the marketing, I think they have done a very poor job. You could probably put a lot of the games of teams playing from South America or even the Latin countries. You could probably put the game in maybe Miami or maybe somewhere in a bigger city like New York. At least you could have probably maybe sold out games by, instead of putting like $100 on a 300 or 400 level seats way above, like in a nosebleed section, you could probably just charge $25 and fill out the stadium by doing so at least 65, 70,000. It's kind of embarrassing. Even the game that I was watching, you and I today, Ecuador and Jamaica, and the stadium where the Las Vegas Raiders play, it was only probably a third full. It was basically 80%, 85% maybe Ecuador fans. So these things, I think it could have been planned out, or at least planned out ahead of time, and it could have been done much better, in my opinion. And you could have just probably played the game at a smaller venue. But unfortunately, MLS, as stupid as they are, they're still playing the game while the Copa America is ongoing in this country, which is hard to believe and utterly ridiculous. Just how short-sighted things are when it comes to soccer in this country. So, I just hope that whatever that the cities, the states, and the government, the local officials who host these games, they'll come up with something. They'll learn something from these experiences. You're going to have fans that will be probably 3 or 4 times as many in 2 years from now. That will be more and more, belligerent to a degree. because you have alcohol involved and you have the rivalries involved as well, as we mentioned in the Euro, overview a little bit earlier. So I hope that whatever we get so much negativity about the lunch prices, the ticket prices, and the bad field conditions and all that stuff. But what's important is that we have to be able to, as a city, that are hosting these big events, you learn something from these experiences. Even if you're not hosting, Copa America this time, you could still have delegates down there and then learn from those experiences, sharing knowledges. And then most importantly, hopefully these experiences can be learned and rectified. As you mentioned, maybe FIFA can do something about the damn ticket pricing, and then also make sure that, there is an ample traffic, ample transportation to get the fans from point A to point B, because here, unlike Europe, we don't have a decent public transportation in this country, bus or train. Maybe you might be forced to wait over an hour just to wait for Uber or Lyft or whatever the rideshare services that's going to be available then. Right. So I just hope that whatever we learn from this mistake, even if it's a negative one, and I think that unfortunately there's too many negatives right now going on with Copa, I just hope that this is not a one-time thing, and I just hope that both short-term and long-term, I hope cities and the officials can learn from that mistake and make sure that they can present themselves in a positive manner 2 years from now, because it will only going to get busy.
Well, I will say that when the World Cup was last here, I'm not talking about the women's, but the men's in 1994. I know it was a long time ago, but it was run very well. It was organized quite well as well. I believe Larry Rothenberg was part of that.
Alan Rothenberg, right? I believe Alan Rothenberg.
Alan Rothenberg, that's right. He led the organization of the World Cup in 1994. Obviously, it's different people, but I like to think that the United States is going to use that blueprint, especially for 1994 for this one. Granted, the infrastructure is different. You're gonna have different stadiums. Some of the cities are different, but like cities like Foxborough are still there. You're also going to have Los Angeles with SoFi Stadium. Now you're going to have North Texas with Arlington involved, and then of course you have MetLife, which was also involved in the Women's World Cup in 1999. So I think that the United States, the World Cup, the organizers are going to do a lot better than Copa America and calm the ball in this for 2026, Stephen. And not only that, FIFA is keeping an eye and seeing what has gone wrong in 2024, and they'll correct those mistakes. There'll definitely be a course correction, especially because FIFA doesn't want those headaches. They don't want to see, they don't want to see on social media that fans are priced out, or like what we've seen in the UEFA Champions League, fans locked out, trying to get into the stadium, trying to be able to find a way to get in, locked out of the stadium well until halftime and not getting into stadiums. They don't want to see that at all. They don't want to see any type of headaches. But also, too, a lot of these stadiums with experience of running the NFL, they're going to be a lot of them are going to be doubling, like Gillette Stadium and Mercedes-Benz Stadium and MetLife and AT&T Stadium and SoFi. They all have experience with large crowds and fans with the and tailgating. They're going to be encouraging that, especially, and also too, I think Philadelphia is going to be involved too. So these are cities which all are used to the big atmosphere and the tailgating and hanging out hours before a game. So I think they're going to be encouraging that, especially with the summertime too. I think that Calm the Ball doesn't really understand the American atmosphere, even though they've had a Copa America here a couple of times. I just don't think they get it. They're more used to dealing with the South American atmosphere. So I think that FIFA will tap into that NFL mentality and try and get fans and run a much better tournament, especially the World Cup organizers, especially with the 16 cities that are involved. With the not the 16 cities, but the sites that are, I don't want to say 16 cities, but I'm thinking groups, but of the cities that are involved, and it's mostly like Mexico and Toronto. They'll be involved too as well, and that's going to be fun to watch.
Absolutely. Now, let's get to the another news that came out today. You posted this on the banner here. Women's national team, Olympics team was announced. Alex Morgan, the longtime member of the women's national team and one of the most recognizable face on and off the field, along with Megan Rapinoe, is out.
Right.
She did mention that she was very, very disappointed, but obviously a true trooper didn't make any bones about it too much, and then obviously this is a new era of U.S. women's national team under new head coach Emma Hayes, and certainly I think that a lot of times new coach, when they when they're hired, they make a like a signature move, whether it's popular or not. Excuse me. And I do believe that Ken, this is one of those experiences, one of those moments, examples, I should say. Excuse me, that a new coach is trying to do something different, and that this is a new era of women's national team in the USA. Because obviously U.S. women's national team is clearly in a transition period, and whether it's going to be successful or not. They're obviously relying, or at least expecting, Emma Hayes, hopefully in the long term, to help get them, get back to where they were previously.
Well, as you can see, I've highlighted a couple of mainstays like Lindsay Horan and Rose Lavelle, who are going to be part of the older generation, also with Crystal Dunn too. But you have to see here that these are younger players here, Stephen. And I think this is what U.S. Soccer and, as you mentioned, Emma Hayes wants to get done here. You only have 18 spots, unlike a regular World Cup when you're going to have over 20 in your team. The Olympics only allows 18 players, and with the teams and the players that they have, they want speed. You have Trinity Rodman here as well, Sophia Smith, Mallory Swanson, who was hurt in the last World Cup. She's back here now. I think that they're going to be fine without Alex Morgan, to be honest with you. As much as Alex Morgan is a compelling player and she's won a gold medal, if you remember the 2012 London Games where they won the gold medal and also propelled them to win two straight. They won a World Cups following that in Toronto, and again the following year in France. So I think that
Breeze off of the catch doesn't shoot the highest.
I have a feeling though, and let's be careful if that's copyrighted. We have to be careful about that, Stephen. Let me just say that I think that the United States team with this particular lineup, again, you're only allowed 18 players to take to the Olympics, and she wasn't named as an alternate as well. But I think that this is a very strong team that can win a gold medal, and I think that it's going to be interesting to watch. Especially when they're going to be in Paris. It's going to be fun. England's going to be there as well. The Euros champions, and also it's going to be interesting to see who they take over there. England takes over, and also it's going to be a fun tournament to watch.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting test that the U.S. women's world team, national team, excuse me, will have. And obviously one of the most controversial selection on this team is the player by the name of Lauren Albert, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Corbin Albert,
Yes.
Excuse me. Corbin Albert.
Corbin Albert, yes.
For those of you who are not familiar, I think, help me out, Ken. Corbin Albert tweeted something about LGBTQ, and maybe she was probably like...
she's had some anti-LGBTQ tweets. She has apologized for that, especially some of the older players who are part of the LGBT plus community have cornered her aside. but she's got to be careful about that because there are gay and lesbian. There are lesbian members of the team, and Megan Rapinoe was very critical of her for making those remarks.
Because she was actually the face of the team, especially because she was, a lesbian player herself.
Yes. So I got to think that while Corbin it's going to be it's an intriguing choice. Corbin Albert is an intriguing choice. You got to take the best players, and hopefully she can gel with the team and learn. She's very young, and a lot of players say stupid things when they're young. So I certainly hope that she's going to learn and grow from that, and gel as part of the team. We all know that Carly Lloyd wasn't necessarily a very popular member of the team when she was there, but they managed to get over it and they managed to win World Cups with her. So it'll be fun to watch. It'll be interesting to watch, and we'll see what happens and see how the chemistry of this team, especially when they play their group stage games in France.
Right, and then Emma Hayes has also spoken, said that she has addressed it with Albert herself. Obviously,
Yes.
The conversation will be kept in house, but this is going to be a very, very interesting challenge. Certainly, as an English woman coming into this country, where the LGBTQ plus community has been under attack and have been fighting for their spaces and also for their rights in times like this. She certainly steps into a very, very potentially dangerous situation where calling a player as talented as Albert has been could disrupt the team chemistry, as you said, especially when you had legends like Rapinoe and among others who have been vocal about social injustices, especially from where they're coming from, even if it meant alienating many, many fans, who are clearly have some issues for whatever reasons. So obviously Emma Hayes has to get herself accustomed to fortunately or unfortunately in a way about where this country is right now from those perspectives. And even as an English woman, certainly she should know about the the fights that U.S. women have been going under for equality, and equal pay. So she has to make sure that those messages don't get lost, and also make sure that the team also fight, not just fight for each other, and then also represent the United States in a positive manner as well. So hopefully, the new generation of young players, Albert, Trinity Rodman, Dennis Rodman's daughter, among others, will, hopefully, help lead the team and usher in a new era in which the fan support will continue to remain stronger than ever.
Right. So here are the teams that are going to be, and I mentioned England. I should have realized that they're not in, but France is going to be in there. This is going to be a fascinating tournament. United States team is going to be in a very tough group. As you can see, Group A has France, Colombia, Canada, which is generally done well, and of course won a gold medal as well. So they're going to be they're going to be in Group A along with New Zealand. Then you have Group B, which is going to be in a tough group: United States, Zambia, Germany, and of course the fourth place finisher in the last year's World Cup, the World Cup 2 years ago in Australia. And then you have the reigning World Cup champion Spain against Japan, Nigeria, and Brazil. I'm debating which is the group of death there, Steve. And I don't know, but I think the Group C is going to be the group of death here, because you've got Spain, Japan, Nigeria, and Brazil. That's going to be a very, very tough group to get out of. I think Spain has to be considered the favorite. Japan has generally done very well in these tournaments, Stephen. And also, of course, the United States, Zambia. Germany's going to be tough. Australia will be tough as well, but it's going to be a fun tournament. Only 12 teams in this tournament, Stephen. But I have to say that, it's going to be fun to watch. United States, I think, will definitely get out of their group. And then after that, it is pretty much anyone's tournament after that. I think it's a wide open tournament. I do think the United States can win a gold medal, But when you have Spain and when you have Nigeria and when you have Brazil and France, those are going to be some really tough teams to get out of that group. And but I do think the United States can get a gold medal. Whether they will or not is anyone's guess. But I think with this team, I think they can do it.
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons I think a lot of people would be somewhat excited about tuning into the Olympics, which is not too far away. It's also just around the corner. So that's one of the exciting games to watch, or at least exciting events to watch if you're an American. So hopefully, women's national team, as always, they've represented this country very, very well, on and off the field. So hopefully the new generations will, carry on the torch and have a great tournament in the Paris starting next month. Okay, so we mentioned about the soccer, and I'm going to point out about the dude, Alexei Lalas, and your colleague from from Awful Announcing wrote an excellent piece on this one, titled "What's the Deal with Alex Lalas?" Excuse me here. It is if you're a contrarian about everything, then nothing is real, nothing matters. We touched on this last week. It is written by Sean Keeley. We touched on last show about how he doesn't give a F about stuff, and then certainly compared to the other soccer legends that are on the Fox team, you have George Chiellini, who is Italian defender who won the Euro in the last time 3 years ago. You have Peter Schmeichel, one of the greatest goalkeepers of all time. You have Daniel Sturridge, who was star player on the English team and also had some nice careers, especially when he was with Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp.
Ariane Hinks and Ariane Hinks won a couple of Women's World Cups, and is, of course, representing Germany on the panel.
Right, and then also American legend Clint Dempsey is also making his rounds on occasion when he's on. It's it's basically Sean is writing about stuff about why Lalas has become such a hot debate and hot topic at a time when soccer is dominating this country in the month of June, when it should be celebrated. Obviously, why Alexei Lalas is a thing. And it's actually kind of interesting because I know Fox a couple of days ago also announced that they're carrying the women's Euro next year as well. Obviously, that kind of news was received with a collective groan. You have a female version of Alexei Lalas, Carly Lloyd, just trying to gaslight things more so than Alexei himself. It's not a good, really recipe. And then recently, I think they were talking about the English team, about Jude Bellingham and all that stuff, the superstars, and they somehow brought in Christian Pulisic into the equation about world-class players and so forth, which kind of sounded very, very, tone deaf in my opinion. And it just, and again, here's a good part. As much as there's some bright spots, Fox Sports coverage, Fox's soccer coverage has never reached that of ESPN standards. Now, mind you, Lalas came from ESPN when ESPN, lost the soccer broadcast rights, and some of the people from, ESPN, Ian Dark, Derek Ray, among others, they also ended up coming over to ESPN from ESPN to do do broadcast in JB Calamara as well. So it really does, feel war. Just like the time when he compared English. Yeah, go ahead.
And I put it down as a banner. If you're looking for a better show, it is actually on YouTube. It is actually on X, Twitter, and Facebook and TikTok. It's called Fox Soccer Now, and they started this with the Women's World Cup hosted by Jimmy Conrad, who is a former member of the U.S. men's soccer team, and they also have Melissa Ortiz, who is a former Colombian women's soccer national, Stephen. And they've had various guests on it. And actually, when you want to get good soccer discussion and actually some fun online, it's much better. And it's usually on 20 minutes before each game, whether it's the Euros or Copa America, or it's 10 minutes right before the game ends. So it's basically a 20-minute, 30-minute show, and they preview and they also talk about the game. And if you're looking for good soccer discussion, I would go there. And to be honest with you, I did it extensively during the Women's World Cup. They had great guests. They had people. Not only did they have Jimmy Conrad and Melissa Ortiz, but they had members of the Fox Soccer panel. But they didn't bring Alexi on. They didn't bring Carly Lloyd on. But they had some really great, fascinating discussion, Stephen, and it was really, really good. They're continuing that. Wes Morgan has joined them who was also on the English soccer team. They're trying to keep it so it's the kind of like the anti-Alexi Lawless show. They actually talk about soccer. They actually go into the X's and O's, Stephen. So if you're looking for that good soccer discussion and this is where Fox has shined on this online show, I have actually sought it out. I actually watch it on YouTube. I have actually watched it on Twitter, and I have actually enjoyed it. And I've said it many times on my X account, my Twitter account, Stephen. It's a much better show. So if you're looking to avoid Alexi Lawless and still get the Fox experience and a much better produced show, I would go to online and Fox Soccer Now, and it's on the Fox Soccer account on Twitter. Jimmy Conrad, I've talked to him. There's that great look at how Daniel Sturridge was just really could not believe. I thought that quarter. Don't show the video.
The side eye and everything.
Yeah, you can see that how exactly Sturridge was just unbelievably could not believe some of the narratives that Alexi Lawless was doing. But I really believe that Fox Soccer Now is a much better show. Watch it 20 minutes before each game, 10 minutes before the game ends. You're going to get a great analyst, and you're going to be able to watch it, and you'll enjoy it. Stephen, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I would definitely recommend it to you if you want to avoid any of the stuff.
I think I may have seen it. That's where Jimmy Conrad has been in there most of the time and does his thing. And obviously Jimmy's a little bit of somewhat of a has a shtick going on. Maybe not as bad as Alexei, but at least Jimmy obviously played for the national team as well. Certainly has his place. Maybe not like a troll. Like Alexei. No. So certainly Jimmy has his his favorites, and maybe some people may not like his shtick as well. But I think compared that to Alexei Lawless, I think Jimmy Conrad is a much more a better presenter.
You could definitely swallow him. Take his stuff much better than at first. When I saw the show, I'm like, boy, he's over the top. But I've gotten used to him. I think he has a great sense of humor. He very much more self-deprecating than Alexi. And Melissa Ortiz has done a very good job. She's also been used on TNT's coverage of the U.S. soccer team and the men's and the women's as a sideline reporter. She's bilingual, Stephen. She also owns a coffee company. So very interesting stuff for her. And I think the analysis that you get on Fox Soccer Now is much better than what you would on Copa Tonight or Euro Today. The Fox Studio show. Anytime that Alexi Lawless is on that show, I change the channel or I go online. That's how bad it is. I don't want to listen to him. I of course halftime I'm going to watch him, but I am really tired of him pounding the table, pointing his finger at the American people, and basically giving narratives like, "Is the English team like the Dallas Cowboys?" I don't think we care. I don't think we care.
No. And that's why I think Daniel Sturridge was kind of like giving him a stink eye there. Perhaps one of those moments where he mentioned comparing that to the Cowboys for some reason. So it's kind of weird. And but there are certainly, as I posted here, there are better alternatives than putting up with Alexei Lalas and Carly Lloyd on Fox, and their contract is up in 2 years. We'll see if Fox learn from their mistakes, or they just continue to gaslight the American soccer public, because it'll be interesting. The money talks, and Fox certainly has been able to do that. From the almost 30 years when they since broken into the NFL business, and they still own the NFL. Obviously, they've also have the baseball as well. It will be very interesting what they do with the soccer coverage, and how they do with their soccer coverage, because right now, if Alexei Lalas is kind of like seen as the de facto guy on the soccer punditry here in this country, I don't think not many people in this country will continue to enjoy watching soccer, which is bad, because you have World Cup coming up in 2 years from now. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's quickly touch on the NHL.
Stephen, unfortunately, I have to go. So, Stephen, unfortunately,
I apologize there. We'll save that for our next show then. Yep. How about that?
Yep, that's fine. But I have to run. But thank you very much. We want to say that thank you very much for watching, and we did a lot of good soccer talk. We certainly hope you enjoyed that.
Right.
We have a lot of things to discuss. As you mentioned, this is the soccer summer. So, we have a lot of things to do, but we certainly thank you for watching us here this week. Next week, we hope to have a special guest. I won't say who it is, but I'm hoping to get a special guest next week. I'm talking to a couple of people, and I hope that we get this person on. He's going to be, all I will say is that he's not Alexei Lalas, but he is someone that you see regularly on TV. So I'm just all I'm going to say. So I'm going to hope that I'm working my channels to and my sources to get someone for next week, and hopefully we'll have a special guest on next week. But in the meantime, when
we do, we'll definitely post it on our X Twitter to make sure the announcement once we get that official. So
absolutely. So don't forget that Steven is available at Asian Sports Fan 1 on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I'm at Fangs Bites. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you can see below. It's also at Fangs Bites and the live stream. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Ken Fang. He's Stephen Nagishi. We did not color coordinate this this week. It's just one of those things that happened. See us next week to see if we color coordinate our shirts next week as well.
Thank you very much for watching, and we'll keep you posted on the special guest that Ken is working on based on his vast contacts, and hopefully we'll have another great show. Enjoy your week, and then we look forward to seeing you next week during 4th of July week on the Double A Team podcast live stream. Good night, everybody.